Why don't we begin?
Report to set. Everyone ready?
We hope you enjoy.
Let's make this one count. And action.
This
is Fresh Hop Cinema.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. If you're somebody that listens to craft beer podcasts at 6 in the morning when we upload them, congrats and welcome to another fantabulous day of a Chico, California-based craft beer and movie podcast. My name is Max Bernardi.
And I am Johnny Samaras. Hello.
Johnny, before we get into this too much, please tell all the lovely folks where they could find us on the internet.
At Fresh Hop Cinema on .com and Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Untapped, Letterboxd, and Pornhub.
God, were you in the... Okay, fine. I don't know your life. Maybe you are on there. Google him if you want, I guess.
Maybe Fresh Hop Cinema has a channel on there.
So now that the Alchemist, one of the most famous breweries in the world, has been alerted to this podcast, and that's how we've kicked it off. I'm sure they're not here anymore, but let's talk about their beer anyways.
Bro, they weren't here to begin with.
They might be.
They
Well, they're definitely not now.
Oh, please.
Anyways, it's a beer that you've had, I assume.
Yeah, it's been
Many a time?
It's been a long time.
How long?
We didn't even. There was more intro stuff.
What else
We didn't
did I
talk
miss?
about Patreon.
Oh, sure, that's true. We could do that.
That was really it, though, huh?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to reach out to us, I guess you can email us, fhccast@gmail.com. We like Twitter stuff. We like Instagram stuff. That's kind of the quickest way to get a hold of us.
Yeah. Shout out to Brian McAllister. Sent us a great email. We have
He
to
did.
touch on that.
Sure, let's do that. That was actually, I think, a week late on that one. So double thank you, Brian. It was a very cool email.
Yeah.
A lot of fun insights. We had, it was at our Patreon event back at the beginning of, or the end of last month, rather. We kind of got Brian hooked on to like, at least momentarily, what's the word? Binging our show. Like, I think he emails like 6 episodes deep or something. Like, here's all this helpful info. It was very nice to hear.
Yeah.
And I liked it, so thank you.
And it made me want to try Newcastle again.
Right, a lot about Newcastle.
Well, because we had spoken about it, I believe, on the show, and you had some insider information. So
Sure.
yeah, apparently
fair enough.
they reformulated the recipe, and Lagunitas owned it.
Yeah.
which I didn't know.
Right.
I guess it's good now.
You know, I didn't mind it back in the day. Like, Newcastle was fine.
Yeah, it just
yeah.
tasted fine, but it for sure had like crappy ingredients.
Yes.
But yeah, it did taste. It always tasted good.
Yeah. One of my first craft beer purchases was one of those mini kegs they used to sell.
Yes, I
of
remember
Newcastle,
those.
and you just kind of like
You can still get those.
Can you?
I've seen them around.
they're fun.
I'm gonna get you one.
They're too expensive for like it's the gimmick, I guess, but they're still fun.
Yeah, they are fun.
Yeah.
You should shotgun one.
The whole keg, just. All right. What else? Anything else? I didn't mean to skip important stuff.
No, that's it. Just Patreon.
Cool. Shout out movie next week since we planned it.
Oh yeah, we did. We actually planned it for once. We're going to be watching a Netflix original that just came out like last week.
Yeah.
Like beginning of February. Netflix original called The Horse Girl.
Just Horse Girl, I think.
Is it Horse Girl?
Yeah, it's Allison Brie is in it, and it seems like a. You know what? Actually, I only watched half the trailer, and then I was like, all right, if you want to watch it, let's do it. Like I'm in. So I don't actually know much about it.
Yeah.
So we're not going to tell you what it's about because I can't.
It seemed dark.
Cool.
It seemed like it could have been a dark movie, but yeah, it was in some film festivals and stuff. Looked like from the beginning of the trailer.
That's
so.
right. Yeah, it was a selection at Sundance, I think, this
Yeah.
year or this year, last year, this year's roster. So,
Yes.
yeah. So check out that show. You can find it on Netflix. The movie. Find it on Netflix if you want.
You have a week notice.
Yeah. And I feel like usually, like, we booked out the movie for a change. I feel like we do that, but then, like, right after the Oscars, there's always, like, a 2-week sort of, like, I don't care about format. Like, I just want to, we'll just do it. Whatever happens, we'll drink vodka with White Claw at the beginning of the show. Why not?
Yes.
And I think that's part of my mentality for not having the notes in front of me. I'm like, you know what? I've been, like, going real hard, like, with format and just, like, take a couple weeks.
Format and watching so much content. I
Yeah.
feel like you mentioned before the show, we were just talking about how you hadn't really consumed much content. We were possibly going to cover for Sama, but we're looking like we're going to do
Promised I would. We
Yeah.
talked about it and I said we would, and I couldn't get to it.
that. You know, I accept no promise on an 8 Loco night. You
It's fair enough, man.
could have promised me the world and a magic carpet ride,
Yeah, all right.
and it would have been beautiful, but
Sure.
untrue.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that could be what it is, though, man. You got burnt from watching movies, and it was
Yeah.
probably a nice break after the Oscars, because
Yeah.
I haven't been super into, like, I went on a terrible movie binge.
And what like watching terrible movies, or the
Yeah.
binge itself was terrible?
Both.
Oh,
No,
geez.
it was a great binge.
Okay,
but
good.
Like,
You need at least one of those things. Otherwise, why did you do this?
no, since we last recorded, I watched like The Other Guys and Hot Rod.
I like the other
I
guys.
love The Other
Yeah.
Guys. It's so funny.
Yeah, and the Hot Rod's a comedy classic.
Yeah.
At this point.
We took a break mid mid the other guys,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just remarking to Shalena how similar our relationship is to theirs.
You and me?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm Mark Wahlberg, and you are Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
It makes total sense. I
Obviously.
agree.
100%.
I was thinking about watching that movie. It came across my mind the other day, like 2 days ago, and I was like, maybe I should watch this. Where'd you see it?
Netflix.
It's on Netflix?
Yeah, it just popped on.
Maybe that's why I thought of it. Because
Probably.
I like saw it and like scrolled by it, and then it was in my brain.
It's in like the new stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I think that is a huge thing for us, yourself and me, us.
Yeah, sure.
The two of us.
I just rewatched Us, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah. To be fair, Gianna and I just watched a few movies from sort of my top 20 of 2019.
Okay.
I'm struggling to remember what they were right now, but Us was one of them. Oh, we watched Honey Boy again, and we watched The Peanut Butter Falcon.
Nice.
It's like, yeah, you're hitting some really, like, not, I don't think any of those, maybe Honey Boy made it in my top 10. But top 20 for sure, movies that I was like, I'm not going to see them for a while. Mm-hmm. And then here we were.
It's fun to rewatch them. I
I did watch stuff, I
I
guess.
just rewatched Jojo Rabbit.
Nice. How'd it hold up?
Great.
Cool.
Noticed more the second
Like
time.
what?
Just a bit more of like the depth of the relationships earlier, and I was kind of paying attention because you're well documented saying that there's a huge tonal shift.
There is, right? Still, there is or no?
If you go back and watch, the tone is kind of there throughout.
Huh.
It's just you're more focused on the comedy than the serious side of it.
Fair.
It does have a shift, but I think it's way more present in the underlying tone on the second watch than maybe on the first one.
Yeah, okay.
But still really good.
Yeah, I want to. Where did you see that one?
I watched it online.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think it's coming out for DVD. Don't we know this? Like DVD,
real quick.
Like in the next, certainly in the
I
next
think
week.
it came out today, actually.
It might have, yeah.
Yeah. And then I just read a thing with Taika Waititi that he's directing the next Thor movie,
Oh,
Love and Thunder.
that makes sense.
With
Love and Thunder is what it's called.
Yeah, Natalie Portman's going to be She-Thor.
What?
Yeah.
Presumably as the same character as Jane Foster.
Yeah.
Becomes. I
Yeah.
didn't know you could do that as
Yeah.
a human. I didn't know. I don't know
Bro.
the rules.
Comic books, man.
Yeah, I guess. All right. I really would love some beer.
Let's do this.
I
Let's
was-
jump into our first beer.
Yeah, so I got. I was lucky enough to get 3 of this beer and 3 of its sort of single IPA version. It's not really. I don't think it's the same version, but it's kind of their 2 biggest beers. So Heady Topper and Focal Banger is
From?
the other one from the Alchemist out of Vermont, and it's one of those beers. Actually, both those beers that are so world class. I checked on the Beer Advocate ranking, and this one is number 1 of the style, which is a New England IPA, coming in at 8%, and Focal Banger is number 3. Which I think is like 6.5%.
Ooh, and these are
And
fresh.
these are fresh, which makes a huge difference. I think. What did the date say? It's like 3 weeks old, maybe.
This was canned on 127.
Yeah, so we're like just coming up on 3 weeks. Super, super fresh, super good. I was excited to see that it held up because I've had it once. You've had it a couple times, I think. And it's just super, super solid. What do you think number 2 is? This was 1 and the Focal Bangers 3 on the New England list. What do you think is 2? If you had to guess?
Probably Julius.
It is Julius.
Yeah?
Well played. Yeah.
Yes.
It is. You and Nick Land got it right.
Nice.
Just been asking people because now I feel very smart. I'm like, oh, have you guys looked at that list? Like, there's a number 1 beer. Oh my gosh, I have one at home. Do you want some? Too bad. I actually didn't say too bad. People have been like, try this.
Too bad.
Haha, mine.
And you just laugh in their face and run off.
Yeah, I am going to read a little bit about what one of their people wrote on this can. Get this condensation off. But they say, Heady Topper, trademark, is an American double IPA. This beer is not intended to be the biggest or most bitter. It's meant to give you wave after wave of hoppy goodness on your palate. Tremendous amounts of American hops will creep up on you and leave you with a dense, hoppy finish in your mouth. So drinkable, it's scary. There's more. I'm going to stop there. But do you think all that is true of this beer?
Very true. Yeah, I've been sipping on it while you were talking. This beer is just aromatic would be an understatement. You open the can and the room just smells like you stabbed a pine tree in the heart. I love it. It has this punch, this fresh, just crisp punch of hops that is absolutely present in the beer. It is so clean and crisp drinking. I mean, that the can is super accurate.
Yeah.
It drinks like a dream full of rainbows and kittens.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
I think the distinction that I look for in a world class IPA, or even one that I just really, really love, is like the strong hop presence. Again, like you'd almost be convinced this isn't a New England style IPA because it's so hoppy and
We had this conversation. I didn't think it was.
Neither did I, and because I remember tasting it and thinking like years ago, I was like, this must be just a double IPA. And I'm not. I'd love to know more about kind of the distinction. Also, in case anybody's listening, or actually more specifically watching on our live feed, and it clearly says on the top of the can, drink from the can. But I've tried it both ways, and I think you get more of the flavor pouring it. So I just, I'm not trying to break any rules.
We
But
do what we like, bro.
yeah. But the distinction I look for is the punchy hoppiness that leaves your mouth light. Because there can be really big hoppy beers, but then you feel it after you drink it, you know?
Your mouth is just blah.
Yeah, you're just like, ugh. And then like you almost get your palate blown out. Like there's too much, and but this is so like by the time you swallow your first drink of this beer, it's one of the cleanest finishes I've had in an IPA, maybe ever.
Yeah.
You know, it's certainly deserving, I think, of a number one slot in the world.
Yeah, and the fact that this beer is categorically a New England IPA is a testament to the variability within a style.
Sure.
You can have so many different flavor ratios and levels of hoppiness. You know, the IBUs can go up and then down, and you can have the juice bombs, and you can have the hop bombs that have like haze to them that are somehow called that, and they're not juicy at all, and they just hurt your face, and they're so bitter, and you need a glass of water.
Yeah.
You know, and there's this whole spectrum. There's levels to this New England IPA game, and this one really exemplifies the beers that I like in this style. I love the hop presence. I love the smoothness of that hop bitterness that New England style, that like the quote unquote juice,
Right.
that levels that out. I mean, but it's not overused in this beer. It doesn't have too much juice or you know, hazy whatever flavor.
Yeah, right.
It's like there's just enough of that to mellow out the hops and just make this beer absolutely crushable and really close to perfect.
Yeah, they said on the can it's not meant to be the biggest or most bitter, which I think is such a nice stance because so often it feels like beers are trying to be that way. Even beyond tasting, like branding, like the bigger hop monster beer, which probably is a beer.
Probably.
But like the biggest, most in your face you can get.
Hopmageddon.
Sure, that's a beer. Yeah.
I know. I'm just like there's
Or Hopageddon.
Hopageddon.
Yeah.
Hopmageddon.
Hopmageddon to it. But no, I think this is super. What's the word I'm looking for? Maybe restrained in a very intelligent way for what I think it's achieving. We're trying to achieve.
Like good filmmaking.
Ciao, Bella. I like it a lot, man. I'm super stoked. This is the second one I've drank. Actually, third. I got another two from somebody else. I'm not name dropping here because I feel like at least one or two of maybe both were like, maybe don't name drop. So I'm not going to say anybody. But this is my third one, and every time it's been like, yep, just as good as the last one.
So good.
And I have one more in the fridge that I guess because of freshness I have to drink soon. So,
I feel like this is one of the first beers we ever shared together.
Because you mentioned to me that we'd done the Alchemist on the show before, and I looked it up and I couldn't find it.
I think we just did it together.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure this is the beer that we drank at the very first bottle share we ever went to at the Handlebar.
You are right, actually. I didn't connect that, but I do remember. I couldn't remember ever having this beer where I had it, but it was at the Handlebar.
It stood out. I didn't know it wasn't on the show. I just know that I drank this beer with you before.
That's so funny.
It stuck out in my memory, and that's why. It's like is this the first beer we ever drank together?
It's I think like that's the first time we ever drank beers together. I'm sure we had some other beers.
Dude, it's a
before
better
that,
story if this is the first beer.
This is the first beer we ever drank together. Did I tell you that?
Exactly. Bro,
yeah.
In podcast history was birthed in our brains.
In a
that
sense,
night.
I suppose so.
Yeah.
No, see, I remember it being that we didn't have podcast birth idea until you were at my house drinking that one time.
Yeah, but we wouldn't have had those drinks at your house if it wasn't for this beer.
All comes together. What else do you want to talk about with this beer? Anything?
You know, I mean, I don't think there's a lot you can say about this beer that hasn't already been said.
That's probably true.
You know, it's delicious.
That's how I feel about a lot of movies too, but we cover them anyways. My thought is maybe somebody here is listening that hasn't heard all the other smarter people talk about it, so they come to us.
The slightly less smart people.
Correct. And they'll just be like, oh, what a great insight that, yes, other people have said, but I didn't know that. So these two idiots are very smart.
Exactly. That's the best sentence you've ever said.
Thanks, man. I'm going to point out one more thing on this can.
Hold on. Time out.
All right.
We're not grazing over that. Next stickers we get, Fresh Hop Cinema. These two idiots are very smart.
I love it.
That's a slogan.
It's
dude.
like the thing that I put on the poster over there.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite quotes that I've ever cited for us, and I made it up because it's an anonymous quote. And it was like I meant to do it as like a praise of our podcast, like a promo quote. I think the quote is like,
these guys have seen
"I've
movies.
seen movies and have had beer before."
Yep.
Yes.
You organically just spouted one off. So
Fair. Yeah.
like, for real, write
Keep
that
it
down.
Well, yeah. Their can says, "Don't be a d-bag. Recycle this can."
Hell yeah.
That's a good move. I think it's a nice little nod. I also wanted to say on the can they have, if you must pour it into a glass, you may find that some of the hop resins have settled to the bottom. Leave them in the can while pouring, which I thought of this whole thing because you poured it full on. Dumped it in, so we'll see how the end of this is.
Poured it very slow.
Well, it's all in there.
You got a couple chunks.
It's fine. I'll drink them. I don't care.
Yeah.
All right. You want to rate this, baby?
I mean, how do you rate a Heady Topper?
Yeah, it's an easy 10 for me. There's no getting around that.
Like if you could name something, you want to change, you don't like this style of beer. You know what I mean? This is the example. This is the rule that you.
It's the bar.
It's the bar.
I could see somebody trying to make the argument that it's not hazy enough to stand up in today's market of hazy beers, but I don't think that's a fully fleshed out argument. I don't think that holds up.
No, because that was the haze craze came after this beer laid the road. They laid the foundation.
Yeah, I wish I would have found out when they did start brewing this. That would be a really interesting thing to know.
I mean, dude, I remember trading for this beer long before anyone had ever heard of Treehouse. Unless I was just out of the loop.
Maybe.
But I mean, the time when we were all stoked on this beer, when we drank it together.
That was probably, you think, like 2014?
I don't know. I'm dog shit at years and stuff. You'd be a
6 years
better
ago.
person to ask. I mean, we've been doing this for
3-ish, 3.5.
3-ish?
Not 3.5, but 3 and some change.
And we knew each other for what? We probably only knew each other for a year or two.
We knew each other 6 months at least before we did the podcast because we had the idea at my house 6 months before we actually started it. And then I have to assume that bar hang bottle share thing was like, I don't know, sometime within the year before that.
Okay. So we knew each other, let's say,
So maybe
let's say a year and a half before we started the podcast.
Yeah, okay. That's probably fair. So not quite as long as I said, but it's probably 2015.
Okay. I'm sure Treehouse was around.
Yeah. It's just so strange, the idea that this would be in direct contention with a Julius in terms of styles, because they're so different.
It's not in direct contention. It's number 1 and Julius is number 2.
Oh, shit. Yeah, fair enough.
I'm just
Get
saying.
at me, Treehouse.
It's not contention.
No, I guess not.
I mean, the masses speak. They want a bit of hop presence with their milkshake.
I'm going to say...
Or their, not milkshake, their juice bomb.
Juice bombs, yeah. So this year for our annual March Madness style beer tournament that was inspired, in a sense, by Film Spotting. One of my favorite film podcasts. Please, I can't say this enough. If you're a movie nerd, go listen to Film Spotting. They're very good. But they do a thing where they do kind of an elimination tournament, bracket tournament with movies, and we're going to do one with beer. But next year we're going to do New England IPAs.
So this year's regular IPA is IPAs,
and we haven't figured out the logistics.
Singles or doubles?
That's the problem. I don't know.
All right.
We can talk about this when we get it all nailed down, but or to nail it down.
All right, we're gonna rate this beer,
Sure,
and we're gonna give that idea a few minutes.
That sounds great.
Let's flesh this out.
We're giving it 10s, right?
Like you said, easy 10. For me, easy 10. This is still one of the best beers I've ever had. Every time I drink it, I feel like I'm lucky to be drinking it. It's rare that we give out 10s. You know, I just drank a whole 6-pack, not in one night,
Of White Claw?
of the that was in one night. No, the Mayberry IPA.
Oh, nice. That was my last 10 on the show.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
I think, and it was bottled in like December, so it's
Yeah.
right on the edge of how old it is before I would not drink it. Still so good. Like I
Yeah.
craved that beer and I sought it out. And someone once told me that like the mark of a new.
I just heard Smash Mouth. I'm so sorry.
Somebody once told me. No. Someone once said that the mark of a truly memorable restaurant is if you will crave it or not. And I liked that quite a bit, and I took it to heart. And this is a beer that I would crave.
Right.
That Mayberry is a single IPA I would crave, and that's a very short list of beers that I have a thirst for that I will go out and seek out. So yeah, hands down a 10. It can't not be.
Yeah, I think that. So the cost about, this is stupid too. It was like just $8 for the can, which is basically what you pay for a pint in a bar.
Yeah, it's pricey for a 16-ounce can, but not if it's like the number one beer in the
Yeah.
world, pretty much.
And like that was including getting it from Vermont to here. Like it was even out to like $48 for the 6 that I got.
It's cheaper than gas to drive there, man.
That's true. That's true. But you don't get to go through Texas. Shoot.
Shucks.
I like parts of Texas.
I'd go to Texas for the barbecue. And
That's fair.
Austin's pretty dope, I've heard.
I haven't been to Austin. I would go to Austin also. People keep telling me to go.
Yeah, Austin seems like way more your speed than any other part of Texas.
Yes.
Well, our speed, let's say.
Fair
Because I
enough.
don't really fall in line with
Right.
the rest of Texas either. So, yeah.
I don't know if we have any Texans listening.
I hope so.
If by some miracle you are in Texas hearing this, please write us in. We really want to know that you exist.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And what your favorite brewery is in your area. That's important.
What's your favorite barbecue?
Or that.
That's important to me.
10s across the board for the Alchemist's Heady Topper.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Okay, let's dedicate a few minutes then. We're going to need to figure out a creative name for this tournament that we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
When does March Madness start? March?
Early March. I'd have to look it up specifically.
Okay.
The tournament does start, I want to say, first or second week in March.
Worth noting, if you're like me, March Madness is a college basketball.
It's the NCAA basketball tournament. Yes.
Okay. Where 64 teams
Yes.
compete, and they decide by the end who's the best at basketball.
Yep.
Okay.
You're correct.
Wherein fantasy football, which is another thing I've heard about in the same sort of circle that talks about March Madness, is not as real. By which I mean, because in March Madness, the games sort of determine the outcomes, right?
Yes.
And in fantasy football, it's the players rather than the team winning. Is that right?
Yeah, because fantasy football isn't like a sport that like is like people. It's different because fantasy football is like a fan generated sport.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But it falls in line with a football season,
Yes.
and you follow your players by like who you like create your dream team, right? Is that the thing?
Ideally.
Explain it to me like I'm 6 or something.
So basically, there's 32 football teams.
Okay.
Say you and like 8 buddies get together, and you pick numbers from a hat, 1 through 8, and that's your
One
draft.
person's left out then because we have 9 of us total. I'm just counting right now. You said you and 8 buddies.
Sorry, you and 7 buddies
Copy
for
that.
8 total. They have to be even number in a league.
Okay.
You and 7 buddies draw numbers 1 through 8, and that's your draft order. So the guy that picked number 1 gets to pick first.
Oh, I see.
For his fantasy football team.
So it's like kickball on the playground. That's the person that gets to pick the
Essentially,
first team player.
But when you're picking players, they're NFL athletes, and what they do on the field on their Sunday when they play
right. Goes towards your team.
gets you points, and they're on your team. So you go 1 through 8, and you draft, you pick quarterbacks, running backs, and stuff, and you compile this team, and it's essentially whoever does the best. Cumulatively,
Sure.
Wins
something.
their matchup because you have a schedule, and of those 8 people, like 1 week I'd play you, another week I'd play somebody else.
I see. You are the team.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
your team. It's your fantasy football team, and your team goes up against your buddy's team, and whoever wins that week, you get a point or a win on your record.
Oh, okay.
And at the end of the fantasy football season, which is shorter than the regular football season,
Okay.
you have playoffs.
All right. I got to stop you there. I think I get it.
Yeah.
March Madness, on the other hand, is team to team, whoever knockout tournament.
Exactly.
Okay.
The winner go home. One game. It's not a series. It's one game. One basketball game.
And you very clearly decide the winner by who wins the game.
Mm-hmm.
The difference with our beer tournament is it's going to be crowdsourced voting. So we will have this all set up on our website in the coming weeks.
Well, I thought we were going to drink the beers and decide.
We are also going to drink the beers, which is your and my vote is going to weigh a little bit more than the average person.
There should be 2 brackets. There should be our bracket and the fan bracket.
This is the specifics we're going to work out. It's going to be something.
Yeah.
We're going to figure out what's going to be the most logistically smart and effective. And then we're going to set it up on our website. It'll likely be something like freshhopcinema.com/beer madness. Something like that. I don't know. That's not catchy enough. But you get the idea.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be all IPAs. So we're going to line up, I think, because it lasts how long in sports?
A few weeks.
Cool. We're going to knock out, I think we'll probably do 32 to get going. 64 seems like a lot to actually drink in a few weeks and document.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. But if that is something that interests you as a listener and you want to play along with us, get those beers, drink, vote on the website, and then we'll go hand in hand as things get eliminated. It'll be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We could even whittle it down to like Sweet 16.
Sure. Elite 8. Final 4. There it is. I know the things.
Yep.
I don't know what they're called. My mom loves basketball.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, we could do a Sweet 16.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, we should call it the Not So Sweet 16.
Sure.
Because
Why
it's
not?
bitter and hoppy.
Oh, nice. Yeah. We'll make it a thing.
The Bitter 16.
Sure. The bittersweet 16.
Yep.
It sounds like a bad birthday party on MTV or something.
Yeah.
Listen, I think we should go to break.
Let's take a break.
And then I think we should come back and start talking about a movie that I think we have a lot to say about.
Oh, yeah. So much.
Officially titled retitled Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey. That is the new name for this movie. And we'll get into that with no spoilers just yet, though I don't think it's that kind of movie that you got to be worried about. But if you are worried about it, we're not going to spoil it. And we're going to talk about that in just a moment, so please don't go anywhere.